Hey everyone, Tim with Ghost Towns of Washington, and we are continuing our exploration of historic mines in Snohomish County, Washington. And it is an absolutely gorgeous day. Sun is out. Our weather picker is not broken today. And we are going to take you to this very historic, cool mine site. And this site also has some very awesome artifacts, one of which I consider to be one of the top 10 rare artifacts that we've ever come across in our exploration. So we're glad to have you along, and we hope you enjoy this video, and be sure to watch to the end and see all the cool stuff we find. So we've made our way up to the mine, and as I pan across here, you'll see this mine, like many in this area, are in just an absolute picture-perfect, stunning setting with this waterfall here. And then as I pan over, you'll see right coming into center of the screen there, the portal of the mine. So I'm going to go ahead and make my way across this little feeder stream here and get over to the mine, give you another view here of this waterfall. And you can see Drew up there getting his gear on. Where we came from, up the gulch here. So before we head in the mine, we're going to look at some artifacts here on the outside that kind of tell a little bit of the story of this mine. So here we have a ventilation fan, and the best part of this is it has its markings on it. So I'm going to kind of clear some of the brush back here. Over here we have a boiler, and this would have been here for the drilling operations. So just to give you some background, this mine property was claimed in 1900, and they started work on an upper tunnel, and then this tunnel was driven in 1903, and it was driven by a steam drill. And the steam drill still remains here today, and it's probably, again, one of 3 or 4 of the rarest artifacts we've ever found in mines. You just do not see steam drills. You see pneumatic drills quite often. So be sure to watch to the end to make sure you see that artifact, because it is absolutely just so cool to see. I think you'll be really impressed by it. And let's take a quick peek inside here before we head in. All right, not too bad. A little bit of water, fairly typical. A little bit of bugs. So this mine is about 900 and change feet of workings. The primary commodity was copper. There was showing of gold, silver, and lead as well. So we'll kind of watch for some of the ore bodies when we're in there today. So we're going to go ahead and make our way into the mine. And the first thing here, we've got some drill steel. Looks like single jack. As you can see, the mushroomed heads here. So they would have been hitting this with a type of sledgehammer. And then outside the mine, there was the other half of this stand with the shaft on it, and I'm not sure if this was for the blower, if this somehow drove the blower. The shaft's obviously too big of a diameter for the blower fan, but I don't know if it had some other way of connecting to it. Right. Looks like we had strap rail right out of the gate here. And strap rail is just basically a wooden rail with a piece of metal strapping, as you can see right here, that is fastened to the top, and then the ore car wheels would just ride on top of that metal strapping, and a little cheaper than bringing in full steel rail. See by these fractures up here what the host rock looks like. It's granite, and the rest of this is all kind of covered with soot and powdered material. So as the story goes, there was, or is, an upper tunnel here that nobody that we know over the years has been able to locate. It was said to be driven roughly 140 feet before they dropped down and started this tunnel. And the face of that tunnel, if my history is correct, I believe, the assays indicated that there was somewhere around 22 ounces of silver and 10 ounces of gold and 32% copper, which is pretty impressive and highly unlikely, or else this mine would have definitely had a different fate. And here you can see the air pipe, and this is what would have tied into the blower back at the entrance. It's a little smaller diameter air pipe than I'm used to seeing. And there you can see the hanger that would have been fastened up into the rock to suspend it. And then down here we have a little bit of air pipe on the ground here. You hear that rattling, which is the steady stream of water coming down out of the ceiling here. Dripping down there on top of the air pipe. And as you saw from some of the outside shots on the mine, it's a very sunny day here in the PNW. It's supposed to reach around 80 degrees today, so it's already probably in the mid 70s out there when we were just getting up to the mine. So coming into a mine that is, I don't have my thermometer with me, but let's just say, I don't know, mid to upper 50s is kind of nice. Looks like we got some shoring or something going on ahead of us here. Some timbers here. You can see how big this shoring is right here. It's definitely not the norm. See what's going on here. It looks like they might have been chasing something up in here, and you can see these other huge timbers that are kind of toppled over, domino effect there. I'm not really sure why they needed these in this particular spot. I don't see anything that looks particularly problematic, but I'm not a mine engineer, so we shall continue on. Kind of see all this cross members going every which way here. Not too robust the beams. All right, so let's see what we got going on here. Ooh, okay. Oh yeah, we got a lot going on here. So this is where we kind of tee off when we're going to the left and right. So we're going to head off to the left first instead of the right. Looks like here is some drill steel. Possibly, I don't know, maybe kerosene. Looks like hose, maybe steam hose for the steam drill that we're going to see here shortly today. And this is a rather impressive vein material. Hopefully you can see it. Maybe I'll take the other light off there so it'll show the colors a little better. You can see there's a lot of different stuff going on up there. Got quartz, we got some, if that's azurite, we got some blue, that red, yeah, there's kind of a cool looking vein compared to most. See that vein just kind of continues down the tunnel here. We'll just follow it down. And here's one of the bits for the drill. Kind of see the star pattern there on it. Looks like we got some explosive crates, and this one's almost got some legible writing, which is really cool because you never see legible writing on these things, at least in our area anyway. All right, looks like it faces here. It's kind of where the veins run together and pinch out for the most part. Take a look up in there, show you what's going on. Kind of see, this is what that material, when we first saw the vein back down the tunnel, basically looked like, only it was a little bit wider than it is back here. And looks like they might have just been chasing to see if there was anything running off in that direction. All right, I'm going to shut the camera off for a moment because we're going to head back to where we turned left and go the opposite direction and show you the star of this mine, the 120-some-year-old steam drill. And walk it back the other direction. This coming in is kind of just neat to see. It's just the top of a old bottle. Looks possibly like it was some sort of medicinal bottle. But still cool. You don't see bottles or old bottles in mines around here very often, so seeing a piece of one always tells the story. It's kind of cool. So we're back to the intersection we came in. And you can see Drew coming in behind me here. And here you could see there's some steel rail that has been bent for a obvious reason, but it's interesting that there isn't any other steel rail in the mine that we've encountered so far. And then over here, we've got an old bucket. And I'm going to keep the camera kind of pointed down for a moment, just to build some suspense and surprise to this cool artifact. So here we have what's left of a shovel. And we have some more explosive boxes. And over here, we've got a whole bunch of different drill steel, which is pretty cool to see, and additional shovels. But really, what is cool to see is this drill. And the steam drill is, like I said, I haven't seen one in a mine or heard of one in a mine in Washington. Doesn't mean they don't exist. It's just not something I'm aware of or very common. And you can see where the hoses would have connected to the drill. So there you have the handle and then the jack screw to advance the bit. And of course the bit would have gone down here in that part of the drill. But like I said, you see pneumatic drills on a regular basis. You don't see steam drills, especially 100 and I'm going to say 22 years old, because we know that this tunnel was driven in 1903, so the drill could be older, but we'll just say that for argument's sake. But what a really cool piece of mining history. Don't run across drills in mines, at least complete ones, very often. I think I've encountered maybe 3 or 4 out of, 200 and some mines. So they're relatively rare. There's looking back down where we came in and all the bits and other tools here. So we'll look at this again before we head out. We're going to just finish off this tunnel here, which looks like it may have finished itself off because it's pretty collapsed back here. We have another piece of drill steel, and you can see the copper showing there, some of the copper wash bleeding through. And again, you can see the copper soaked through a lot of this material. So we're gonna try to make our way up and over this without having any issues. And it does what I suspect it does. It faces out back here, which it does. And here's another look at the drill. Unfortunately, the corrosion and whatnot, I cannot find any marking dates, maker's marks, patent dates. So that's a little unfortunate, but it still being here, I'll take that all day long. And then over here you can see the drill stand, which would have been mounted to the floor and ceiling vertically, and then the drill would have been attached via this, and this would have had the post running through it for the drill stand. So the drill would have mounted to the center section right there. And you can see this bolt here would have secured it. And the stands, generally speaking, and this one does, they have these teeth, as you can see right in here. It's hard to see with the corrosion, but they have some teeth to help give it some bite into the rock, both in the floor and the ceiling of the tunnel to help keep it in place. And then we again had a couple other shovels here, and I mentioned the drill steel. Looks like there's 5 or 6 pieces of drill steel over here. I'll actually take that back. There's a whole bunch on the ground. So there's probably a dozen or more pieces of drill steel here. And again, you can see right there the star pattern on them. Let's take a look here. If I can get my lighting to work, and or through the magic of editing. Let's take a look. Let's see. So this one does not have a hole, at least that I can see. And that kind of helps indicate the age. Not having a hole here means there was no water introduced to help with dust control. So a lot of times some of the newer ones, and I'll look up the years and put them down, but they would have had a hole here. Spray water through, and that would have helped prevent respiratory issues from silicosis and other things due to the dust in mines. But can't see a hole in this one. So anyway, we'll look maybe at this one. Yeah, for sure. This one definitely got light in there, right? Sorry, it's hard to, there we go. Definitely does not have a hole. So these are old. Definitely to the 1900, 1903 for sure, the era that this mine was driven. And looks like some sort of wood handle. Another shovel. That shovel looks like it's in really good condition for how long it's been here. Yeah, I just love this drill. you guys enjoy seeing it as much as I like looking at it and showing it to you. Definitely, you know, for us out here in Washington, it's just rare. You just don't see stuff like this, and a steam drill to boot. Just super cool. Take a look at this. You can see all the oxidation of the fitting there. Maybe it's kind of hard to see that in there. There we go, right there. And those hoses we saw down the other tunnel are most likely the steam hoses that would have connected to this thing. And then we saw the boiler apparatus outside that would have provided the steam. So pretty much everything that was needed to run this thing is still here. Take another look at this bucket. So we've got the bucket here, and then over here, looks like we have what remains a miner's boot. So I mentioned the single jack steel that we saw coming in, and here is the mallet or sledge that would have been used potentially with those drill steel. It's cool to see that still here. You can see the head there, and then coming out of it's what's remaining of the handle. And over here, we have a wooden rod that was used to pack explosives in the drill holes, push them back in. And this one is in actually pretty decent shape for its age and being made of wood. Speaking of explosives, another part of an explosives crate here. Now we're starting to make our way back towards the entrance and show you this other piece of drill steel sitting here, leaning against the wall. I'm going to film kind of right back up to where this large shoring is. Just take one last look over here. And kind of see where they were doing some stoping here. And the shoring is pretty good sized stuff. Like I said, occasionally you run across this, but it's not that common to see this diameter timber. All right, so I think You've seen everything through here, so I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off for a minute, and we'll see you when we get on the outside. So we are back almost to the entrance. I always like to photograph and film the entrances, especially coming back out, especially on days like today when the sun shines coming through the portal entrance and kind of reflecting the colors of all the foliage off the vegetation out front, and get that green tone and whatnot. It's just always kind of cool to see. In fact, I'll turn my light off, give you a natural view there, what it looks like. All right, so back out, safe and sound. Another successful exploration on a beautiful northwest day. Well, that's going to about do it for this mine exploration adventure. We want to say thanks for watching. We appreciate you coming along with us. We invite you to subscribe to our channel. If you don't want to subscribe, that's okay. Just check back with us every now and again. And don't forget to like and comment, as it helps the channel. And until our next adventure, take care.